My love of spooky things began with the television series Are You Afraid of the Dark? As an 11-year-old boy, I was captivated by the more mature content than what was the normal Nickelodeon schlock. Let's travel back to a series that defined a generation of horror fans, all the way back to August of 1992. When Nickelodeon launched their Saturday night lineup called Snick. And Are You Afraid of the Dark, closing us out with a seemingly unsolvable riddle. As if, let's begin. We open on a crackling fire, the only light in the deep woods. A group of teenagers huddles together. This is the Midnight Society. As their leader, a precursor to Harry Potter, Gary explains, they're a mixed bag of kids from different schools with different interests. Yay, diversity. But one thing unites them, the dark. Every week they meet here in this secret spot to share tales of the strange and the scary. Because who watches their preteen kids anyway, right? Gary issues a rod-surling like chilling invitation to us, the viewer. We're about to leave the comfort of the light and step into the supernatural. We meet the core members, Eric, Betty Ann, Kiki, and Kristen. But tonight, there's a new face. David brings forward a blindfolded boy, Frank Moore, nominating him for membership. Frank, ever the bad boy alpha male, questions the blindfold. The others explain it's to protect their secret location. You don't get to know where it is unless you get in. David vouches for him, but Eric, the skeptic, asks the real question. Can he tell a good story? That's the rule. To join the Midnight Society, you have to tell a story that impresses everyone. The vote must be unanimous. Thumbs up, you're in. Even one thumbs down, and you're out. And they won't have to go far to dump his body. Just say. Frank, with a bit of an attitude, accepts the challenge. David leads him to the storyteller's chair and hands him a small pouch. It's time for the ritual. Frank knows what to do. With the words submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, David tosses a handful of powder into the fire. Whoosh! The flames surge, illuminating their faces, and the first tale of Are You Afraid of the Dark begin. Frank begins his story, titled The Tale of the Phantom Cab. The story centers on two brothers, Denny and Buzz, lost in the woods. Denny is the cool, older brother, sporting a sleeveless Canadian tuxedo, and Buzz is the geeky younger one who just wanted to prove himself by planning their hike. I had always thought that their names should have been reversed, but perhaps in Ontario, most nerds are called Buzz. Buzz's plan, total disaster. They're completely lost. And Denny's getting frustrated watching Buzz struggle with a compass that won't stop spinning. To make things worse, Buzz spills their last water on the map, rendering it useless. Denny, furious, calls him a loser. As night falls, the temperature drops. Denny shoves his brother, realizing Buzz has been holding the compass near his magnetic belt buckle all day, making it useless. They are truly, completely lost. Buzz, near tears, insists he knows the area and that they must be close to town. He runs off with Denny chasing after him. Just as Denny catches up, ready to explode, a flashlight beam cuts through the darkness. A man named Flynn, who just looks like he coaches youth hockey, appears out of nowhere. He's a traveler who knows these woods. He offers to lead them to the home of a doctor who can help. He tells them it's too far to find their own way back in the dark. But before he goes, he asks a strange question. Are you any good at solving riddles? Flynn leads them to a secluded cottage and gives them a cryptic warning. Don't ask the doctor for help unless you desperately need it, because his price can be steep. And then, just like that, Flynn vanishes. As the boys approach the door, the bushes around them seem to shake and cry out. They knock, and the door swings open to reveal the bizarre Dr.Vink, a wild-haired scientist who collects dead animal specimens.
Vink's the name. Dr. Vink.
Dr. Fink?
Vink with a v.
Denny immediately mutters he's a nutbag. Dr. Vink overhears and sternly corrects him. I am not a nutbag. He agrees to let them use his phone, but only if they can solve his riddles. Buzz, confident in his riddle skills, accepts. The first riddle. How far can you go in the woods? Buzz answers correctly, halfway. After that, you're on your way out. But Denny is just getting annoyed and wants to call home. Dr. Vink threatens to cut the phone call. The next riddle stumps them both. What's weightless can be seen by the naked eye, and if you put it in a barrel, it will make the barrel lighter. Unable to answer, Dr. Vink forces them out, telling them a cab will arrive soon. But he offers one more way to use the phone. They can give him a specimen. He then reveals a jar containing a preserved human hand. Terrified, the boys scream and bolt from the cottage. Back at the campfire, the story is interrupted. Eric, whose contempt for Frank boils over, complains it's a cheat to put an unsolvable riddle in a story. Kristen agrees. But Gary and Betty Ann think there might be an answer. Frank, annoyed by the interruption, tells them to chill out so he can finish. Radical. Back in the story, Denny and Buzz run through the woods and find a taxicab waiting in the middle of nowhere. The driver is Flynn, looking pale and ghostly. I mean, there aren't many beaches for sun tanning up there. He reveals Dr. Vink's terrible games. 40 years ago, Flynn gave Vink a ride and couldn't solve his riddle. To pay his debt, he gave the doctor a specimen, his own hand. After leaving the cottage, he crashed his cab. Now, he uses his pee-wee hockey coach charm to lure people to Dr. Vink's, hoping they'll solve the riddle, or crash with him. Nice, bro. Or provide the doctor with new specimens. He turns his head a full 180 degrees and cackles, revealing his zombie-like state.
I should have died!
Buzz realizes the shaking bushes were the ghosts of past victims trying to warn them. Flynn tells them they have until the cab reaches the crash site to solve the riddle. The doors are jammed. They're trapped. Panic sets in. Denny shakes Buzz, trying to force an answer. Buzz, under pressure, has a breakthrough. You don't put something in the barrel to make it lighter. You take something out. It's weightless. You can see it. And if you put one in a barrel, it makes it lighter. He screams the answer over and over as the cab hurtles toward a tree. Suddenly, they're standing safe in the woods. The cab is gone. Denny congratulates his little brother. Just then, another flashlight appears. It's a real forest ranger there to rescue them. It's the 90s, so the ranger doesn't admonish them for getting into a cab with a stranger or wandering into the woods. Just straight back home. It's a school night, after all. As they get in his truck, a smiling Buzz turns to the ranger and asks, "Are you any good at riddles?" Frank ends his story. He says, The police never found Dr. Vink's cabin, just an old foundation. Typical, they should have called the Mounties. They always get their man. Now, it's time to vote. David, Kiki, Betty Ann, and Kristen all give a thumbs up. Eric hesitates, then gives a reluctant thumbs up. Finally, Gary smiles and raises his thumb. "Congratulations," he says. "You're in." The blindfold comes off, and Frank is officially a member of the Midnight Society. Now for the aftermath. This episode, the tale of the Phantom Cab, wasn't just Frank's initiation. It was the introduction of the iconic, recurring villain, Dr. Vink, and his famous catchphrase, "I am not a nutbag." It set a high bar for the series, blending classic ghost story elements with clever puzzles. This was one of the few episodes where they don't douse the fire at the end, as they're too busy celebrating their new member to worry about causing a measly, disastrous Canadian wildfire. The episode is a perfect example of what made the show so great. Creative storytelling, genuinely creepy moments, and characters you felt you knew. It's a nostalgic trip back to a time when a simple story told around a fire could be the scariest without gore or violence. And the thing we looked forward to, hearing the words submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society every Saturday night. Let me know your favorite tale from the Midnight Society in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button for more spooky fun.